Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I'm Reba J, Associate Vice President, Operations and Legal Editorial Publishing at Lumina Datamatics, having experience of more than 2 decades supporting legal publishers in transformation of editorial and content service at Lumina Datamatics. Amy, you want to go?
Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I am the Director of Global Operations Strategy at Thomson Reuters. My role is dedicated to continuous improvement and primarily serving as a strategic catalyst for driving innovation and operational excellence across our organization. I am joining from Minneapolis and happy to be here. Peter.
Yeah, good afternoon or morning or evening for everyone. I'm Peter Kraal. I'm Vice President of Volkswagen Legal and Regulatory Division. I'm responsible for content management, and I'm joining you from Alphen aan den Rijn in the Netherlands. And hello to Simone.
Hello, everybody. So sorry for the delay. I've had some technical issues. Thanks so much for starting with the introduction, so I won't interrupt. Reba, is it you next?
I already did, Simone, so we are done. All three of us have introduced ourselves.
Thank you so much. So I'm not sure what's already been said, but I just wanted to say that in today's session is being recorded, which you might already have been told. We will have a Q&A session at the end. So please use the Q&A button in Zoom if you have any questions to our experts. We'll try and cover as many questions as we can at the end of the session. But don't worry, if we don't get round to your specific question, then we will follow up with an email after the event. I do want to very, very quickly introduce Lumina Datamatics a little bit as well. We are a strategic partner in providing content services and technology solutions to publishers and content providers from around the world. Our journey began in 1975, and now 50 years on, we have a global workforce of over 6,500 employees across India, the Philippines, the US, Germany, and the UK, which is where I'm located. I'm really thrilled to be hosting today's webinar, even though I joined a little late. So without further ado, then let's get started with the conversation. Now, rapidly evolving technology seems to be accelerating all aspects of our working lives. There's a growing demand not only for high quality content, but for more and more content to be delivered more quickly through multiple channels and often even tailored to the needs of individual customers. There's clearly a need to adapt. And so let's talk about some of the challenges and opportunities in this space. Amy, let's start with you. Can you share your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would start first by saying I think that this is a really exciting time. I'm really grateful for all of the others who are worked up about the safety concerns that are associated with this, because I'm all on board with exploring the boundaries of what's possible and seeing a lot of really great opportunities. In some ways, I don't know that the challenges or opportunities are entirely different. Every company comes into existence and they continue to exist because they're able to see and meet the needs of their customers. And with technology evolving so quickly, I would say that it's even more critical now than ever to stay closely connected to our customers, whoever those customers might be. And I think that, the best companies don't listen only to what customers say. They're deeply familiar with who their customers are and what they do. And this technology doesn't really change that. But I do think that the speed with which the technology is coming available means that only some companies will be able to maintain that familiarity with their customers as things are changing, and also continue to deliver value. In the case of companies like Thomson Reuters, I think our greatest asset is also our greatest obstacle. The legacy data that we have and the technology that we have puts us out front with an advantage to deliver greater value to our customers, but it also in many ways could hold us back. And so what we're trying to figure out how to do is leverage those many decades of experience, of knowledge, to help become unencumbered by the technology that we currently use, to free up our ability to start using some of the new technology. So that asset of all of that legacy content is really the output of many experts. And when we think about the greatest need for change, given the new technology, we don't really see an elimination of the human involvement in what we do, but we do see a significant need to change how humans are involved in the process. And so we're continuously reassessing where the edge is between what AI can competently do and where that human touch is critical. This is true for our products and what a customer might want or need to do, but also for the way that we acquire and process and deliver our content. So what TR employees versus AI can or should do. In terms of the opportunity associated with that change, I would say that really what I'm most excited about is the concept of personalized products, the ability to get just-in-time answers, and also the responsive nature of what we're seeing. That it's not just a static response or a static product, but it's a very interactive, engaging experience. And so it gives us the ability to more easily incorporate real-time need and feedback into our product design and delivery. And also just, again, going back to the ability to leverage the wealth of our proprietary information to deliver that great experience. I'll leave it there.
Well, some excellent points, Amy, there. Thank you. Pettit, would you like to add anything?
I fully agree with what Amy said. I think the challenges are common. Another thing that comes to my mind is clearly what we see is the changing expectation from our customers. Let's say from originally providing them with access to legal databases, list of results list, just in plain information. We see that the expectation now moves towards providing really deep insights in context, very granular bit-sized type of information, something I would dare to say helping them in decision-making support. I think that's a bit different. That changes our role compared to past. It puts more pressure on the accuracy, while just like Amy said, we sit on a lot of content, and that's sometimes both the opportunity, but as well the challenge and obstacle to make it really ready and in the right shape to meet the customer expectations.
Great points. I think a lot of food for thought there already in that first question. Thank you. Over to you, Reba. Tell us a little bit about your experience from a supplier perspective. What are the areas that clients want to talk to you about?
Well, customers do want to talk on a lot of things, but I would say the top ones that they would want to discuss is on content quality and accuracy, implementation of robust editorial workflow, structuring the content for better searchability, integration of AI tools, and naturally quick turnaround. So it's very common, but an important phrase that you would hear normally in the legal publishing industry: trust equals accuracy. And at Lumina Datamatics, we totally echo this sentiment. So trained SMEs, legal editors, multi-layer QA process, combining automated validations with expert human review ensures quality output from our end. Now, as suppliers, we need to refine and scale up the process. Lumina sets up custom editorial workflows that align with each publisher's tools and structures, right from the manuscript to final output. And we have the experience with content tagging, metadata enrichment to help with structuring the content for better searchability. In terms of technology, like using technology to our advantage and the time zone actually as a leverage, we ensure to keep the pipeline going. This ensures the deadlines, quick turnarounds are met. And with the AI tool, absolute total transparency. So we help publishers use AI, not just the automation when I say AI, but with the human aligned intelligence and overview.
Great points there. Thank you, Reba. So we've heard from all three of you some great insights into what's going on and the questions people are raising. And I can imagine that many people in the audience might now be asking, well, where do we go from here? There's a need for change, but how do we get started? So Petter, let me ask you, can you tell us a bit about the change journey within your own organization?
Sure. I think there are several change journeys that we're on. Let me take the example of the AI journey that over the past 2 years, because that's the one that probably impacts our business the most. The way we approached it started actually with identifying use cases where AI could deliver new opportunities, be it increased value for our customers or efficiencies. We had a huge list. We then prioritized all the use cases based on impact and feasibility, and ran quite some POCs or proof of concepts, with successful ones moving to deployment, less successful ones, leaving. And this approach actually helped us as well to learn along the way, to be fair. Partnerships with companies like yours help us as well to avoid sometimes, I would say, reinventing the wheel, which we may tend to do from time to time when it comes to deploying tech or in editorial processes or achieving efficiencies. In terms of specific examples from this change journey, we clearly see and experience benefits in deploying AI and automation of content processing, meaning the part from manuscript flow from author to our content management systems, namely speech structuring, enrichment, copy editing. There we really see clear results. So that's probably, in short, our change journey in AI.
What would you say was the main learning maybe you've had during that journey so far?
You mean what would we do differently as well? Of course, it's a lot about change management, as well as stakeholder engagement, managing the expectations, which sometimes, with any development are very high, and then the reality comes. I think as well the competence set and the role of our people that is changing. So a lot of focus on upgrading our skills. These were probably things we can always do a bit better. That was the learning for us.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think these are great examples, and I'm sure most of us can relate to them. Amy, do you like to add a few thoughts from your perspective? How's change working for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think our journey matches very closely what Peter was just describing. There's kind of a combination of understanding what the technology can do, understanding how that meets the needs of customers and whether or not there's an opportunity to deliver something more and better. And then, just from an operations standpoint, analysis of where are we spending the most money? Where do we have the greatest opportunities for improvement? You know, where we can speed up delivery, or we can improve coverage, or you know, improve our quality using the technology. So that, I think, very closely matches what Peter was describing. I would also add that we've kind of followed a hybrid approach where we went through the same sort of impact, effort analysis and prioritization, and we picked a handful of really important initiatives that we wanted to work on. But then we also spent a fair amount of time upskilling kind of across our ops organization to enable them to take on DIY or self-serve projects for process improvement. And kind of going at it in both ways has really shown a lot of benefit for us. And then one last thing that I would mention, you know, that we're still trying to figure out. I don't think that we've got fully our arms around yet, is the shift from the R&D team doing most of the experimentation and the delivery of the solution to us doing a lot of that experimentation and the delivery of the solution. We've kind of gotten a good hand on, you know, the actual experimentation itself. How do you dabble? How do you test? But we haven't really gotten to the point of like, how do you monitor to make sure that it's continuing to be what it should be, you know, that it's continuing to deliver what it needs to deliver. This is something that we're still working through.
I think from what I'm hearing here is there's sort of similarities in the challenges and sort of learnings as well, but also I think it's quite clear there's no one size fits all. So each organization really has very specific challenges to deal with and different ways they need to be solved. So Reba, maybe you could share an example on how you've helped a legal publisher with a specific challenge.
Okay, so with the publisher with a specific challenge. So in fact, I can share an example. We have tackled multiple requests from customers dealing with, say, arbitration cases, content migration, QA, end-to-end workflow, which has helped enhance the efficiency. So at Lumina Datamatics, we closely work with the publisher to understand their publishing concerns, you know, and work with them to transform the way they publish. And one of the examples, like out of all the examples, one of the examples that I would want to say is when we were approached by one of the leading publishers with the aim to reduce their go-to-market time. So Lumina had in-depth discussion with the publisher to understand the existing processes and then proposed a phase-wise approach to redesign and kind of transition their product. So extensive interactive sessions, both by the production team as well as the technology team with the client, helped to put up a lot of information in terms of their existing workflows, the processes followed, to get an understanding of their actual concern, you know, their desired output, the editor that they would want to work with, their preferences, their areas of improvement. And we proposed a re-engineered process with the digital-first approach. So our solution used a proprietary workflow with inbuilt CMS, auto-converters. So metadata informations were auto-captured. And we used converters to convert this into XML so that they could be available online ASAP. And we can actually see the customer benefiting out of it now, with especially with the digital-first approach that I mentioned, reduction of time, go-to-market time for each of the titles that they have worked on. High accuracy. Now, this is common, high accuracy of the deliverables now. This is specifically possible because of the validation at user level, custom build, job monitoring, and reports at the fly. So that helps to set in the transparency. reduce learning curve. So that was one of the best things. Because of the automation, the learning curve had come down. The conversions were there, QA was there, validations were put in. So there was not much time that the resource had to spend. And seamless data transfer from the Lumina system to the client system. So in a nutshell, you could see, so Simon, I guess, I hope this has probably given an idea in terms of how we were able to help a publisher.
Great example. Yeah, thank you, Reba. Now we've been talking a lot about change, and the next question is really to dive more into the pace of change. Now, when I started my career in legal publishing over 20 years ago, the saying was that a CMS had a lifespan of about 8 to 10 years. And those CMSs were often used a lot longer, though, because the time and effort that went into developing something new was just seen as prohibitive. Nowadays, I think there's hardly a day that goes by without announcements about new technologies and new great things. And I'm thinking, what hope do legal publishers actually have that, yeah, a solution that they choose today will still be fit for tomorrow? So Amy, let me start with you again on this one. How do you keep up with the pace of change that we're seeing now?
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. And I think that for me personally, it's about maintaining a growth mindset, which we hear all the time, right? And continuing to educate myself. I'm a big believer in the Jim Rohn quote, "You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with." And I think spending your time with the right people allows you to learn and grow in the ways that you need to be ready for the change that's coming. So networking in the right circles, signing up for conferences, webinars like this, reading about all that there is. And honestly, with a lot of this new technology, experimentation, which, you know, historically I wouldn't have done nearly as much of. When I think about that question more broadly for our operations organization, I think there are a lot of key points that I would call out. The first and really foremost foundational element is establishing the psychological safety, that room to fail, because we are just trying to figure things out, and not everything is going to work. So paired very closely with that is the need to upskill staff and provide time for practice and experimentation. And then I have a personal affinity to business architecture. I think it's absolutely key to set good strategy. So knowing the business capabilities for your organization, knowing which ones give you a competitive advantage and where you want to devote your time and attention. It's kind of the build by partner question. Know your resourcing strategy and what is the value of your external partners? What is the organizational structure that gives you the ability to move fast and adapt to that change? Knowing your policies and procedures, clarity around, you know, what's allowed, what are we okay with, what are we not okay with? And then familiarity with your technology footprint. That goes back to that legacy that I was talking about before. We can't always ignore it as much as we would wish that we could. And you need to know where your own technology is holding you back and where it's important and valuable to let someone else be the expert or let someone else be the experimenter. So all of that, I think, paired with the build of a flexible platform that allows for easy transition from what was the best to what is now the best and what is coming, affording that room to pivot, paired, of course, with agile development approaches and practices. And then I think it goes back to what Reba was talking about before too, about like, it really all comes down to that expectation of accuracy and speed. that has to be the North Star that we continuously aim for. And again, leaning into that customer and employee experience, making sure that we're understanding how to deliver what's best for the customers, what's best for our employees, so that we can find the greatest way to deliver value.
Really good points there, Amy, and I really like your positivity. It wasn't an easy question to answer, but yeah, really like the optimism you have. Petter, do you share Amy's excitement?
Yes, I do, and it's nice to hear that as well. One thing came to my mind as you talked about the CMS, and I think we all went through the projects of deploying, large content management systems, and it took years, is that, and there I see the change today. I think we moved away from going for some big monolithic systems towards more, at least on our side, and we also feel like we need to be clear on the architecture, both of the systems, but as well the process, how we want to run it, and then use and see it more like an ecosystem, and then actually use various microservices that can be plugged in. I think that's one big change I see, because that allows us to really, as well what Amy mentioned, sometimes if we don't do something right, fail fast, and then rather don't run into multi-year big projects, especially considering the speed of innovation and tech change.
Great point. Yeah, I like your thoughts about greater agility really with regards to systems as well. I think that's a really good point. Now, I know obviously publishers often also turn to vendor partners for help, especially in times of change. So Reba, maybe just a few comments from you as well on how you help clients dealing with change.
So yes, having heard from both Emmy and Peter, here are some of the points that I can probably talk on. We work closely with the publishers or the customers, in this case for us, to understand the emerging trend, and we align our strategies accordingly. Now, this helps us to stay relevant and create workflow which are futuristic. We have a very flexible team which can quickly adapt and reduce the burden on their in-house editors. Now, concerns that we heard about legacy system, now this can be addressed or is addressed from us by system integration, and Lumina provides content and metadata migration services. So from legacy formats to structured modern schemas, and most importantly, we operate with secure infrastructure, so which is compliant with data privacy regulations and standards, and enabling the use of AI-assisted output, but complemented by expert human review.
Right, thank you, Reba. Now, we're running a little bit behind schedule due to the late start, so just want to move on to question about people. So change is not just about new processes and new technologies, it's also about the people who need to drive that change and who need to live with that change daily. Petter, just want to ask you there, where do you see the biggest challenges or opportunities with regards to people and their roles in the publishing process?
I think Amy covered it actually pretty well already, but a few things come to my mind. One, of course, the increasing speed of technology development has a huge impact on our colleagues. The resulting changes in competence, and as well partly contributed a bit of the fear from the new technology and how AI specifically may impact. We definitely see that the legal role or the legal expert role is evolving. We see it more as an opportunity that the technology, namely AI, could really free the time of our best experts to really dedicate it to the work where is the most value, and actually take away from them some of the routine tasks that can be automated as well, some of work of our editors probably is going to move more towards quality assurance or helping us actually to improve or train the models. So that's and how to cope with it. We will put a lot of effort and focus in upskilling our colleagues in training, access to all the various tools. But it is at the end, it is a cultural shift. It's not. So that's from my side. Amy, from your perspective?
No, nothing additional. I think I agree completely with everything that you've described.
Thank you both. Yeah, I think cultural shift. I think that is a great challenge. So with that, before I open up the floor for questions from the chat, I'd like to ask each of you for some quick tips, just a quick takeaway for people from this session. What advice would you give to legal publishers who want to innovate this year? Reba, let's start with you.
Okay, so, well, the easiest way, or I would start with, like, since we are talking about AI, I would say embrace AI, but strategically. So have clear guidelines where AI can be used in your workflow, what is allowed, and with appropriate human intervention. Modernize content architecture, because that's absolutely needed if it has to enable easier reuse and improve searchability. And I think we heard from Amy before, prioritize innovation that offers you maximum potential. I totally agree on that. Just on workflow automations, choosing tools that can easily integrate with your existing system. And suppliers, it is emphasis on supplier partnership for any seamless project cycles. And last but not the least, in today's digital landscape, strengthening data and IP security is absolutely non-negotiable. So that is what I would say.
Excellent. Thanks, Reba. Amy, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. When you first asked the question, I think what immediately popped into my head was the Shopify CEO's directive that's been leaked and shared. I think he eventually shared it himself, but the directive that it's for everyone. AI is for everyone. It's not for a select group of people who might be interested. It's really something that everyone needs to get on board with. Everyone needs to learn. And I think, we've definitely seen firsthand that some people don't need to be told. They're just excited and they're going to go figure it out. And then there's a huge portion of our organization that they're curious, they're interested, but they're not necessarily going to take the first action, and they need their hand held through the experience. And then there's a small group, and we've been lucky that it's actually a very small group of people who are just really reluctant, just have no interest. And so I think it goes back to what Peter was saying earlier about change management. There's a huge value in having trained change managers help help an organization move through this shift. So change management over and over again, is probably my biggest tip, making sure that you have all of the right people engaged, and that it is something that you really need broad-based support for.
Excellent. Thanks, Amy. Peter, any final thoughts from you on this?
I think Reba and Amy covered it well. I think it's really a lot about the change management Amy mentioned, and being outward looking. I think in our industry, we're sometimes perceived like the legal publishers are pretty much inward looking. I think really out of a lot of the things where we face challenges, either be it STM publishing or other areas of information services or providers face too. So, and there can be a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, agree. Thank you. Right. So I think that concludes our panel conversation, and I think we'll have just enough time for a couple of questions from the QA. So let's have a look. Very quickly. First question here. With fast evolving technology and more information available in bite-sized or highly customized formats, do traditional legal publication formats such as textbooks and loose leaves still have a future? Amy, would you just like to take that one quickly?
Yeah, I tend to think that textbooks are going to outlast loose leaves. This is a personal opinion, not a company position, but I do think that there's kind of a time and place for new learning and kind of getting on board with a new topic or understanding a new concept, which textbooks provide. Loose leaves just feel like a more of a digital arena to me, something that we can continue to update digitally. So again, it goes back to customers though, like what are customers wanting and needing, and making sure that we're giving them that, meeting them where they are.
Thank you. All right, then we have another question here. Could Amy and Petter maybe give us a bit more detail on some specific use cases of AI implementation to help operational efficiencies? Petter, do you want to share your thoughts first, and then Amy, maybe?
Okay.
Big question, though.
Yeah, it is. So let me start just going back to what we've experienced. I think all key players process a lot of primary sources data, and if you look at the level of automation and more enrichment you can get already in the extraction phase, that really significantly improved over the past years with the help of AI. It's a combination of machine learning and AI, but we are able to, in pretty automated way, actually convert the PDF, text document, HTML, and actually get already a lot of metadata that in the past we had to do in a different way. That's so. In the extraction, that's one step. Keywording, just not a very simple example. I mean, really generation of legal keywords, translations, combination of using machine translation with AI to make it better. Another area. Lot in, of course, copy editing and structuring that we see as biggest opportunity, probably bigger opportunity than in, let's say, content creation, where I think there was initially a huge hype around that. I think we see a content can be generated, but considering we as legal publishers have to really provide an accurate content, we see there are more opportunities in assisting our experts and authors rather than saying, oh, now AI will be generating content that we can publish. No, it's more the support and actually making good content or checking it. Just so these are two thoughts. I don't know if it helped.
Yeah, and I would jump in and say same, exactly what Peter just described. And I would take you back to my plug for business architecture. If you understand your business capabilities and you know where those important value add components are, there are not very many places where we haven't found the opportunity for operational efficiencies. So whether you're looking at the content management capabilities of acquire, ingest, enhance, deliver, we've seen efficiencies across all of those capabilities, including the ones that Peter has described, but also outside of content management and things like knowledge management, right? So onboarding new people, answering questions, that mentorship component, coaching. When you have these weird edge cases that you need to deal with, how do you quickly get an answer for those things? So from a knowledge management perspective, change management, financial management, all of those kinds of things, we're seeing a lot of opportunities for efficiencies, either with the utilization of AI for things like classification and normalization, or for that chatbot experience of just help me through this process.
Good points. Thanks, Amy. Now, let's just do one more question from the chat. We have, publishers are turning to agentic AI bots for new projects that include security from the beginning. Lawyers are asking for more involved tasks, for example, discovery, to be as available as a service on the go. What is your strategy going forward? I think I'll just sort of open that up to everybody, whoever would like to give an answer on this one. Difficult question.
Because my answer is going to be kind of a non-answer. But I will say, you know, I think you're spot on. So the first handful of years that I spent with Thomson Reuters were actually in customer facing roles. I'm an attorney by training, and so spend a lot of time, you know, working directly with our customers on what they want. And I think that your question is spot on. Like, that's exactly what they're looking for. I don't live on the customer facing product side anymore, so I can't speak to the Thomson Reuters strategy per se. But I will tell you what I'm personally excited to see. You know, we've been talking about this concept of agentic AI, and not just agentic AI, but agentic swarms, where you have many different agents that are knowledgeable in different areas, and that you have some sort of an orchestrator that helps to guide them to deliver the kind of value that you're describing. So I'm really interested in seeing how we're able to deliver that for our customers. I'm not able to give you a specific, you know, comment on the strategy for Thomson Reuters, but it's something that I personally am interested in seeing.
Same here. We clearly see the demand coming, of course, starting especially from the large law firms in actually combining our data, their data, and really to provide our content through agentic AI in context of specific case they are initiating or starting. There are different ways to approach it as well. Impacts, of course, our business strategy. Same like Amy. But it opens as well another topic for us, which is content security, to be fair, because I'm more, you know, on the content operations management side. So it has to do as well for us topics like data fingerprinting, content poisoning, and so on. So I see more the operational side, and I would not like to replace here my colleagues from the product side. And definitely from a customer at the end, what he wants, what we see clearly is when he starts a case, lawyer, he wants to have all the information, be it, you know, from us, be it his from his knowledge management system, from his Outlook at one place, you know, and have it in conversation mode. That's his preferred way of working.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I'm sure there is plenty of opportunity for new product development in those areas. And Reba, I think earlier on you also touched on security aspects of, you know, how we work with our clients in Lumina Datamatics. So very interesting question. I think we've come to the end of our time. We've run over a little bit, but hopefully, you know, it was worth staying on for these additional really interesting questions. So just a few closing remarks. As you close out of Zoom, you should be directed to a brief survey. So please do share your thoughts about today's webinar with us. We're really keen to hear your feedback, as well as any suggestions you might have for future webinars. As mentioned at the start, we'll be sharing the recording of the session as soon as possible. If you have any specific needs or questions that you'd like to discuss further, please feel free to reach out either to myself or the Lumina Datamatics marketing team. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining today's webinar, and thanks in particular to our panelists for an amazing session. So with that, well, goodbye, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day, wherever you're at. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.